Hey, how's it going, everybody? Mike Weber here, your Los Angeles real estate broker, here with your real estate market update for the beginning of April 2020. My oh my, has the world changed a lot since the last video that I did. First off, I just want to say that I hope you and your families, everybody that's important to you, is staying safe and healthy. That you guys are making it through all these adjustments, all these things that are happening well. There's a lot happening in the real estate market right now. So I'm going to spend a lot more time today talking theoretically about some of the stuff that I'm seeing and how that's likely going to affect the real estate market. And I'll breeze through towards the end just kind of the typical market update that I do, looking at Los Angeles County and the South Bay. But in a nutshell, we're not seeing too much in terms of a change so far yet, because obviously a lot of that data, that information is going to take a few months to start playing out in terms of looking at the charts and whatnot. So do me a favor, if these videos are helpful to you, if they're useful, go ahead and click the thumbs up button for me. I appreciate that. Also, it helps if you leave a comment. Let me know what's happening in your area, what your feelings are, what you're seeing. And also, I'm doing a lot of one-on-one videos with people that have questions about real estate, that are concerned about what might happen, that have properties that they want to sell or they have questions about. So definitely reach out to me personally if you want to get together on a one-on-one Zoom or Skype video or whatever the case may be, and we can talk about your real estate situation, your goals, and all that stuff together. So yeah, let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is let you guys know that just the general real estate climate right now, it's extremely different than it was before. And what I mean by that is that just trying to buy or sell a property in the current environment is very, very, very different than it was, before all of this stuff started. So for a period there, we were on absolute lockdown. We weren't even allowed to do anything physically in regards to selling real estate. Now we have been added to the list of essential services nationwide, and it looks like statewide they followed suit with that. But still, local municipalities, local cities have their own rules, and sometimes they are more restrictive than the federal guidelines, which certainly makes it more difficult. And there's a lot to think about depending on what city a property actually is in. But aside from all of that, the level of care, disclosures, safety, the things that we have to do now in order to even be able to try to sell a property is just vastly more complex, vastly more time consuming than it ever was before. They still don't want us to have any physical contact in any way with anybody involved in the transaction. They still want all real estate to be done completely virtually, with very, very strict and limited exceptions to that. So very different environment. So if you're out there and you're trying to buy a property, for the most part, you're going to be asked to buy it, almost completely virtually, without, certainly in most cases, without seeing it in person before you write an offer. Maybe with an inspection opportunity, at some point once you get your offer accepted, you're going to certainly have to show proof that you are pre-approved, that you have the down payment, that you're qualified to purchase the property. Otherwise, most agents aren't going to let you in this environment. And the expectation is going to be that buyers are going to be able to use, virtual tours, 3D tours of the property to make a buying decision and write an offer. Now, it looks like under certain circumstances, we are going to be able to get an appraiser in or get an inspector in to do a home inspection. But again, there's going to be a lot of limitations there, a lot of boxes that need to be checked before that type of activity is going to be allowable. And of course, everybody's going to have to be extremely careful, certify upfront that they are not sick, that nobody they know is sick, nobody's been sick within the last 14 days, that they're willing to accept all kinds of risks and stuff related to COVID-19. So really a whole host of things that are going to change the landscape for buying and selling real estate across the country, and of course here in our local area. And I don't see these things changing anytime soon unless we find a vaccine for COVID, or all of a sudden some very, very effective treatments are developed. I think these changes are going to go on for a very long time. So next, the loan industry is already completely upside down. And so A lot of things are changing very rapidly. Obviously, the Federal Reserve is going into the market and buying up anything and everything, mortgage-backed securities, all kinds of bad debt, buying debt from all kinds of companies, really trying to prop up the markets artificially, keep rates low. So really just unprecedented, and in my opinion, insane and ridiculous actions that they're taking to try to prop these markets up. But that being said, a lot of the activities that they've done so far have caused a lot of chaos and a lot of havoc in the loan industry. So to top it off, we're expecting a wave of defaults, obviously eventually foreclosures as they become allowable again. And so lenders are already being much more careful in terms of underwriting who they're willing to offer a loan to. And in fact, a lot of lenders are not even doing certain loan types that just a month ago or even 2 weeks ago they were willing to do. So financing is most likely going to be much, much different over these next couple of years than it has been in the past. It's going to probably be much more difficult to get a loan. And really what lenders are looking to do is stick with government-backed loans for loans that fit into Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, into their criteria, because they know those loans are probably going to be easy to sell. And then, of course, those get packaged up into mortgage-backed securities, which the Federal Reserve is going to come in and buy in the market. But anything that fits outside of those loan parameters, I'm already seeing that lenders are not even willing to do the loans, that they want a much higher down payment. So, for instance, on a 3-unit investment property, just talked to a lender the other day. Used to be you could do 20% down owner occupied. Now they want 25 and a huge bump in interest rate. So things are going to look very different from a lending perspective as all of this stuff unfolds. And lenders a lot of lenders are going to ultimately end up out of business. We're seeing lots of margin calls and different defaults and all kinds of stuff that are already starting in the system now. And we're just at the beginning of all of the stuff that's likely to happen. We're going to see a wave of defaults in commercial real estate. There's going to be all kinds of ripple effects throughout the lending industry. So it could be very, very difficult to get a loan in the very near future based on what I'm seeing now. So next, the government has mandated a limit to foreclosures, and they also are making it mandatory. They're ordering lenders to offer different forbearance options. So Fannie and Freddie backed loans, they're telling lenders that they're supposed to offer a 1-year forbearance period for people that are affected by COVID. And if the loan is not backed by Fannie or Freddie, they're asking lenders to also extend forbearance options. And it seems like right now, many of those options are in the 60 to 90-day range. Now, it's not exactly clear on those particular ones whether or not they're going to allow you to add those payments on to the end of the loan. So there has been a question, and in some cases, they're basically making it a balloon payment at the end of 2 months or 3 months or whatever the case may be, where you're not only going to have to come up with your payment due for that month, but also the 2 or 3 months that you missed. Clearly, that's going to cause some serious issues for people that are attempting to go into forbearance on their loan. Now, on the 12-month one, if it's a Fannie or Freddie back loan, it sounds like on those, they're going to try to push everything to the end of the loan, which obviously might buy some people some time, might help some people out. So the government and the Federal Reserve is currently doing everything they can to try to prevent another real estate crisis from taking place. And although they're doing a lot of things that in theory should be able to help the industry stabilize, should be able to offer support to lenders and people that have made loans and all that kind of stuff, stopping, foreclosures. They're even talking about, halting rent, halting evictions. So all kinds of different things. Clearly, we're seeing an economic impact that is unrivaled throughout all of American history. In just the last couple of weeks, we've seen over 6 million new unemployment claims, hit the system. And I mean, we're literally just in the beginning stages of this. So it really seems like this is going to be an impact economically that we've probably never seen before in all of American history. So I don't know that all of these activities that the government's taking, that the Fed's doing to try to prop up the real estate market in the short run are really going to be effective, and whether or not they're going to be successful at keeping prices high and, keeping people in their home and helping people to continue buy homes, that obviously maybe don't even have a job now or can barely qualify, given all of the different things that are changing and all of the ways that it's going to be even more difficult to buy a home as time goes on, over these next months and years. All right, so now let's take a few minutes and just real quickly, we'll go over the current market data chart-wise. And again, just keep in mind that a lot of this data is lagging because a lot of these transactions and stuff that we're seeing started to take place before, we went on, complete lockdown and before people really knew what was happening, what the risks were in terms of COVID and all that kind of stuff. So take it with a grain of salt because really it's going to be the next, 2 to 3 months where we start to see the impact of everything that's happening right now. So if we're start out here in Los Angeles County, and as we see here, we had a huge increase in prices, an 8.1% year over year uptick in median prices. And really, I think what that's from is that we just had almost no inventory on the market for such a long time. And so people were anticipating, things getting more difficult, maybe lending changing, all that kind of stuff. And so the stuff that was on the market, the little bit of properties that were available, people started just going totally crazy trying to buy them. And in fact, even as of now, as of this recording, there's still, crazy demand out there for properties. I've been getting beat out with a client of mine by cash buyers on the last 2 properties, believe it or not. One, he went $50,000 over asking and another $30,000. These are just $500,000 properties and we're getting beat by cash buyers. So at least as of now, there are still people out there that are serious, that are motivated, that are looking to buy a house. But of course, these things are probably going to look different as the months, click by. So if we look at supply of inventory real quick, again, we're down 33% year over year. So we certainly haven't seen an uptick in people listing their property yet. This is all in Los Angeles County again. We look at closed sales, we're down 8.7%. So obviously, we're not down that much year over year, but I suspect that that's going to go down even further as it becomes more and more difficult to transact real estate, unless, of course, a lot more people end up listing their homes and the inventory grows substantially. Then, of course, even though it's harder to sell a property, the number of closed sales could certainly rise as a result of that. Now, if we jump down to the South Bay, we see that we're actually down year over year, 1.3% in terms of median home prices. And supply of inventory, just like Los Angeles County, down about 30%, extremely low. Has started to uptick a little bit, but this would typically be seasonal. Again, it's going to probably take 2 to 3 months to see what's going to happen with inventory. And finally, closed sales in the South Bay are down 16.9% year over year. So a pretty big drop there. And again, that's probably only going to get worse as time goes on, again, unless we see a lot more inventory get listed. So if you want to have a one-on-one conversation, you want to talk about real estate, anything that you're thinking or that's important to you, let me know. Give me a call, shoot me a text, reach out to me directly, and we'll set something up. Appreciate you guys watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'm going to probably start doing videos more frequently on different subjects to keep everybody updated and just to talk about stuff that's on my mind. So keep an eye out on those as they come out. Thanks so much and take care.